UFC just made $7.7 billion out of the latest deal they have done with Paramount Plus, yet still some fighters are saying that they didn't get paid more. How a deal is changing the UFC into a good pay machine, when still the fighters are complaining about their pay, bonuses, and unfulfilled promises. If the UFC is paying better than before, then why Justin Gaethje is saying that his paycheck is still the same? There are a lot of queries, and their answers will be in this video. So without wasting the time, let's get started.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because they signed this deal, they weren't going to come back to all the fighters and be like, all right, sir, you have 4 fights left on your deal, but because of this, we want to book. No, from here on out, it may change once deals are up and once people are getting signed. But at some point, I just wonder if the fighters and their representatives will realize that you are being treated like major league athletes.
The UFC has started a new era after signing a $7.7 billion TV deal with the Paramount Plus. This deal will pay $1.1 billion to the UFC every year, which is twice the amount as old ESPN was paying. After this deal, everything in the UFC was supposed to change, and it actually happened. Like, pay-per-view is gone, and all the big numbered events are now available for the fans to watch without any extra cost. This was meant to be a happy moment, proof that the UFC rules the world and is swimming in money. But instead of cheers, the deal has raised hard questions. People are now asking how much of this cash actually goes to the fighters in the cage. UFC 324, the first show under this deal, was meant to show the future. Instead, it has turned into a fierce fight over whether this new era really helps the athletes at all.
UFC Paramount Plus, yes, absolutely. UFC on Paramount Plus deal gets signed, the fighters don't say anything. So I don't necessarily feel bad for them in the sense that, like, yo guys, it's too late now. What did we say on the show in August? This is the time to speak up. This is the time to all collectively come together and be like, nah. I mean, like, 7.7, what cut are we getting? How is this actually going to help us?
Right in the middle of all this was a huge event at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Justin Gaethje was fighting against crowd favorite Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. This was not an ordinary fight. They were battling against each other for the interim lightweight title, and the winner, who is Justin Gaethje, is supposed to fight against the monster Ilia Topuria somewhere in the 2026. But the fans want to see the clash of two titans, which is not obviously between Gaethje and Ilia, but they want Arman versus Ilia. If you want that fight to happen too, then comment Arman versus Ilia under this video. The city is buzzing with excitement, but the fight has nearly been pushed into the background. Money talk has taken over. Both fighters are famous for wild, non-stop action, yet fans are talking more about pay than punches. Gaethje has openly blasted the UFC's pay system under the new Paramount deal. This title fight was meant to lift a new star. Instead, it has become a loud stage for one of the sport's biggest names to voice his anger. This fire actually started when Justin Gaethje was talking to the reporters on Wednesday and said something that shocked the entire MMA community.
And so what happens? Dana White goes on the Pat McAfee show, and his response to this is, we offered him something and he never responded. And so what I would like to know today, and there's a press conference coming up later today. I will not be in attendance at the press conference, but there will be a lot of great people who are. And so I would like to know, A, because Pat, to the best of my knowledge, didn't ask these follow-ups. Number one, is that true? Justin Gaethje, is that true? Were you offered a contract? And is it true that you did not respond?
He clearly said that he will not even make $1 more even after the $7.7 billion Paramount deal, which is a sad statement to hear. The UFC money is doubled now, yet still, they are not compensating the driving force who are fighters for their hard work. His words hit hard and crushed the idea that when the UFC gets richer, the fighters do too. Gaethje sounded angry and tired, saying the fighters who risk their bodies to make these billion-dollar deals happen are being forgotten. While the company's value keeps climbing higher and higher, he feels the fighters are stuck in place. By sharing his pay story in public, Gaethje directly challenged the belief that the Paramount Plus era would bring a new age of fighter riches. Dana White, after hearing the claims of Justin, wasted no time and went straight to the Pat McAfee show to answer the allegations set against him. Dana denied all of the claims that Justin said against him and replied that UFC actually has offered him a much greater paycheck before UFC 324.
And if it is in fact true that you did not respond, why not? Why didn't you respond? If the answer to the first question is, I never received anything, well, then we have to go to Ali Abdelaziz, and we know he loves doing media, and ask him, did you receive a contract offer? And if the answer to that is yes, why didn't you extend that offer to your client? And if the answer to that is no, well, then someone is clearly lying here.
According to the UFC head, they have kept the complete record of how company uses an enormous system to decide what fighter will earn back then in the pay-per-view era. The most surprising part came when White said Gaethje never answered the offer at all. He claimed the UFC's smart kids in the office had carefully worked out the numbers to protect their biggest stars, but this time the silence came from Gaethje's side. Even with the public clash, White tried to sound calm, saying we're good with Gaethje, while still suggesting the fighter chose to ignore a raise. Part of Gaethje's anger came from things said by UFC Hall of Famer and commentator Daniel Cormier. In December, Cormier had said on his podcast that fighters were already getting bigger guaranteed paychecks under the new system. He claimed that since pay-per-view money was gone, the UFC was giving larger upfront guarantees to make up for it. Gaethje didn't hold back. At Media Day, he fired back saying, "I hear Daniel Cormier saying everybody is going to get paid more on this card. I'm not getting paid $1 more." This public clash between a top fighter and the UFC's star commentator showed a huge gap between what the promotion says about money and what the athletes are actually seeing in their contracts. Another hot topic is the post-fight bonus, which has stayed at $50,000 for over 10 years. Gaethje pointed out how crazy it is that this number hasn't changed since 2013, even though the UFC's revenue has grown 5 times bigger. For a fighter like him, who often earns Fight of the Night, it feels like a slap in the face, as if the company doesn't value the risks fighters take. For smaller fighters, this $50,000 can be the difference between making a living or not. But for top stars, it has become a symbol of a company stuck in the past. Dana White has hinted bonuses might rise with the new Paramount deal, but hasn't said how much or when. This lack of clarity has pushed fighters to demand a serious, permanent increase in performance rewards. The $50,000 bonus looks even worse when you think about inflation. Because it hasn't gone up in years, its real value has dropped a lot. Experts say it's worth about 30% less today than it was back in 2007. In other words, fighters are being paid with money that buys a lot less than it did for the stars before them. This makes Gaethje's point even stronger. While the cost of living and training keeps going up, and the UFC's profits keep soaring, the most exciting athletes are actually earning less in real terms every year. This hidden pay cut has fired up fighters who want the UFC to finally update its pay system to match its multi-billion-dollar success. Justin Gaethje is one of the UFC's biggest bonus hunters, having racked up 14 post-fight awards in his career. But even with all those wins, he hit a frustrating milestone. His total bonus money still hasn't reached $1 million. Most of his bonuses were the standard $50,000, except for a huge $300,000 Fight of the Night bonus for his epic battle with Max Holloway at UFC 300. All told, his career bonus earnings are about $950,000. Gaethje said, "To have 14 bonuses and not equal up to $1 million is not right." For a fighter who risks everything to thrill the fans, the fact that he hasn't even hit 7 figures in bonus money alone shows, in his view, that the whole reward system is broken.
Dana White's talking about, hey man, this guy is the man. 14 bonuses, he's the freaking man. The interviewer is loving it. Everyone's loving the bonuses. And there's Justin saying, yeah, the bonuses have been great, but I haven't even equaled $1 million as far as bonuses alone. Not talking about his fighter pay, bonuses alone. If my math is correct, 50K times 14, just like rough back of napkin math, that's around, I don't know, what is that, 700K or so?
Yeah, but
50%.